तो M&M के रिजल्ट्स के बाद M&M की मैनेजमेंट प्रेस ब्रीफ कर रही है। आइए क्विकली आपको वहाँ ले चलते हैं कि अनीश वहाँ एड्रेस कर रहे हैं और देख लेते हैं कि वो क्या बता रहे हैं चिप शॉर्टेज को लेके और किस तरह की कमेंट्री एक्सपेक्ट करनी चाहिए। आइए सुनते हैं।
That we have the first real estate company that has published a sustainability report, which is just one of our many actions on the ESG front. And finally, let me talk about the digital platforms. We've talked about value creation, and you've heard us talk about First Try earlier, which is the entity that we combined with M&M. Went to a minority stake of 45% at that point. There was further investment that came in. First Try was valued little about 10 or 11 months ago at $1.7 billion. And we have lower share at this point, but it's a very strong value creation story for our shareholders. Next in line is First Choice Wheels or Car and Bike. And that's in the midst of fundraising right now. We will see what the valuation is once we complete that fundraising round. But for this quarter, I do want to highlight Porter, which is a company in the intra-city logistics space. We had set up SmartShift as a startup within Mahindra. We had combined that with Porter to create the largest company in this space. And the latest round gives it a valuation of 3,750 crores. It's gone up 4x in the last 24 months. Mahindra continues to be the largest shareholder, yes, in a minority, as we look at this business growing significantly. And the business has really established a strong leadership across 35 cities and is well poised to create more value for our shareholders. We're looking at new platforms now. The digital FinCo business has been established. We've got a good team in place there. We're looking at agri-tech and receivables as two other platforms, and there may be a couple more ideas. But this is the path we're really going down to create value for shareholders. And with that, Rajesh, over to you for a detailed look at the auto and farm sectors.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ami, can you just confirm that you can hear me clearly? Or Anish?
Yes, Rajesh, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. So I'm breaking the presentation into two parts. The first part is a quick snapshot of how the quarter has been. Anish spoke about some positives, some challenges, and I'll cover them. And then I'm going to talk a little about the future and talk about how we see growth and returns as we go into the future. So to begin with, as you see on this slide, you can see this is for the auto and farm sectors. You can see our standalone revenue in the quarter grew by 15% and the consolidated grew by 13%. And the first half, standalone was 46 and consolidated was 41. I mean, next slide, please. This is a look at the PBIT, and Anish did talk about the commodity pressure that has impacted margins and profits. But I still want to point out that if you look at the FES profit, it is actually the second highest quarter to profit PBIT ever. So we have to keep in mind that when we're looking at these numbers, they are on an extremely high base of last year. Last year, volumes had moved and skewed to quarter two. One is because quarter one had a almost complete lockdown. Secondly, the season was earlier last year. Navratri started in quarter two. So we were in season, and hence, for a variety of reasons, they're not really comparable quarters. 916, we believe, is a very strong profit performance for FES. And like I said, it's our second highest quarter two PBIT, second highest quarter two volume, and second for domestic and exports. So I would kind of not read too much into the negative number here because we believe that's because of a disproportionately high base in quarter four of last year. Next slide. When you look at our PBIT for the half, you can see, and in some way you see an evening out between quarter one and quarter two here, where the quarter one, the H1 has grown by 31% standalone and 73% when we consolidate. Move on. Anish spoke about the turnaround, the FES international subs. You can see that play out on this chart with a dramatic shift over the last 5 quarters as we move to break even and then starting to get a good return. And clearly, we see opportunity to keep on enhancing and improving this performance. So some critical things which are highlights on the farm side: market share 1.9% gain, share points gain. The launch of a very exciting product, Uvo Tech Plus. Uvo was a very strong product. We've strengthened it and we've made it more affordable. And we believe this will help us in our journey of gaining market share. The second highest Q2 export volume at 4,000 tractors. And what we believe is a strong margin performance of 18.7% in spite of commodity inflation. We've taken about 8% selling price increases, though we've not yet fully passed on all the material costs. And fixed costs are under very good control. Next. On the auto side, there's a lot that's been spoken on the 700 launch. It has been a phenomenal launch. We locked in bookings of 25,000 in the first hour and then 25,000 in 2 subsequent hours. So 50,000 in the first 3 hours and then a 70,000.
तो ये M&M के मैनेजमेंट